the Kind Shoemaker and the Helpful Elves. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a kind and gentle shoemaker named Tom. Tom was very good at making shoes, but he was poor and had very little money. He worked hard every day, but he still struggled to buy enough leather to make new shoes. Despite his struggles, Tom always had a smile for everyone and tried to help his neighbors whenever he could. One night, Tom was very sad. He had just enough leather to make one more pair of shoes. He cut the leather and laid it out on his workbench, ready to sew the next morning. Tom said a little prayer and went to bed, hoping something good would happen. He whispered to himself, "I hope tomorrow will be a better day." Early the next morning, Tom woke up and went to his workshop. To his surprise, he found a beautiful pair of shoes on his workbench. The shoes were perfectly made, with neat stitches and shiny buckles. Tom was amazed and couldn't believe his eyes. He wondered who could have made these wonderful shoes. He looked around the workshop, but found no one. Tom smiled and thought, maybe it's a miracle. Later that day, a wealthy customer came into Tom's shop. The customer saw the beautiful shoes and bought them right away, paying Tom a lot of money. Tom was very happy and went to buy more leather. He bought enough to make 2 pairs of shoes this time. That night, Tom cut out the leather for 2 pairs of shoes and left it on his workbench. He went to bed, hoping for another miracle. The next morning, Tom found 2 pairs of beautifully made shoes on his workbench. This time, the shoes were even more splendid than the first pair. Tom sold the shoes quickly and earned even more money. Night after night, the same thing happened. Tom would leave the cut leather on his workbench, and by morning, he would find perfectly made shoes. Tom and his wife, Emma, were very curious about who was helping them. They decided to stay up one night to see who the mysterious helpers were. That night, Tom and Emma hid behind a curtain in the workshop. They waited quietly, listening for any sound. As the clock struck midnight, they saw 2 tiny elves jump through the window. The elves were wearing ragged clothes, but they were full of energy and joy. They went straight to the workbench and started sewing and stitching the leather with great skill and speed. By morning, the elves had made another pair of beautiful shoes and disappeared as quickly as they had come. Tom and Emma were very grateful to the elves. They wanted to thank them for their kindness and help. Emma had an idea. She said, "The elves are wearing old, ragged clothes. Let's make them new clothes and shoes to show our thanks." Tom agreed, and they got to work. Emma sewed tiny shirts, pants, and coats, while Tom made little shoes. They worked hard to make everything perfect for the elves. Emma chose the softest fabrics and the brightest colors, while Tom polished the tiny shoes until they shone like stars. On Christmas Eve, Tom and Emma left the new clothes and shoes on the workbench and hid behind the curtain again. At midnight, the elves came back and found the beautiful new outfits. They were so happy. They quickly put on their new clothes and shoes, dancing and laughing with joy. They looked very handsome and were very grateful. After that night, the elves never returned to the workshop. Tom and Emma continued to make shoes, and their business flourished. They always remembered the kind elves who had helped them in their time of need. They often spoke of the elves to the children in the village, telling them about the magic of kindness and gratitude. One day, Tom and Emma decided to use some of their earnings to help others in their village. They bought warm clothes and food for the poor, repaired broken shoes for free, and even built a small playground for the children. The village soon became a happier place, filled with laughter and joy. Tom and Emma lived happily ever after, surrounded by friends and neighbors who loved and respected them. They never forgot the little elves who had changed their lives and inspired them to spread kindness wherever they went. Moral of the story: this story teaches us the importance of kindness and helping others. When someone helps us, it is always good to show our gratitude and kindness in return. Just like the shoemaker and his wife who thanked the elves by making them new clothes and shoes, we should always be thankful and kind to those who help us. Kindness creates happiness and makes the world a better place for everyone. When we help others, we bring joy to them and to ourselves, and we may find that kindness comes back to us in the most unexpected ways.